the last time that we talked about the Avatar: The Last Airbender live action series was to say to everyone, representation doesn't matter. Because not only are they making this live action series, they're also making animated series related to The Last Airbender content and using this IP for all that it's worth and more. They decided to cast a blind Asian voice actress for Toph in a future project, meaning you're not going to see this person. So why is her voice being represented important?
Because she will need to be blind to truly identify with the character. How could she understand what it's like to be that character if she hasn't been through the same struggle? And that's almost like she'd be acting.
The DEI is not giving what it used to give. Philip Reed said, I found the messier the bathroom counter, the messier the self-esteem. Not always, but a good barometer.
I like the meme that says like, it's like, how hard is it to put the, it's disrespectful not to put the toilet seat down. And it says her bathroom counter. And it's just an explosion of product and hair straighteners. And
thankfully mine is small, so I don't even have the chance to make it messy. But, yeah, I guess that you need to hear someone's Asian blind voice to feel seen in the media that you watch.
The funny thing is this concept has been going on in Hollywood for decades. This is nothing new. The idea that you could uniquely understand a character. I almost wonder if it was just born out of the desire to sound good during the interview portion of the press tour. Right?
For sure. And this specifically is about the second season of Netflix's live action series. They're looking to cast the character Toph, who is blind in the show. And here's what they said in their casting call. Seeking the role of Toph, character is mid to late teens, blind, female, Asian. First off, what's weird to me is that this character is not in her mid to late teens. She's 12. If I recall correctly.
Well, they're probably aging her up on purpose.
Why? Like, why are they... If you can change her age, why are you not changing anything else about her, like her race? Like, it's totally arbitrary.
It's always been arbitrary.
They said she is sassy, confident, and unfiltered. For most of her life, her strength and formidable earthbending skills have been suppressed. Now on the run as the Avatar's earthbending master, she is uninhibited to become the fierce warrior she believes she is inside. Dance and or martial arts experience is a plus. Shooting anticipated for fall 2024. They put this in bold, big letters. Actors who are blind or low vision are encouraged to submit.
Does that mean I could go for it?
Yeah.
I can't see shit.
No, but what's going to happen is people are going to start like acid attacking themselves to be blind so that they can get Hollywood roles.
Look, it's already a thing.
Thank you.
There's already the cases of people who have handicapped themselves because they were desperate to feel special.
Yup. And what do you think this encourages? Like, this is putting your, ability status or disability status on the top of the totem pole when it comes to considering you for this job, and not considering whether you are the best at acting.
Correct.
Which is the most important thing. I understand, casting someone who's the right age, obviously the right gender, the right race, for instance. The blind part is really just the most outlandish to me.
Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock is one of my favorite performances, at least in the last 10 years. That show came out in 2015.
Who played Augie in Covert Affairs?
Augie was played by Christopher Gorham.
This is yet another blind character played by a sighted actor.
Yep.
Perfectly good performance. Why is it a problem? Does being blind put you in a community? I'm genuinely asking.
Yes.
I'm genuinely asking.
I'm not saying like whether I agree. I'm saying that to that, just like being deaf, they consider that a community. And look, when you have unique struggles that are hard for other people to understand or identify with, it's very common for people with those struggles to band together and try to form some type of coalition to allow them to better, relate to other people. I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with that. The problem is when corporations start pandering to such a thing where it doesn't necessarily need to be. There was a character, It wasn't a main character, but there was a character in the show Las Vegas who was like worked in the surveillance department, like up in the camera room, who was he was an actor in a wheelchair. He was, I think he was a paraplegic, and he's like one of the best parts of the show. He's not in every episode, but he always goes back and forth with everyone, and they all play jokes on each other. They all make jokes about each other, and it was great because it wasn't front and center. They didn't make weird sappy storylines out of the fact that he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
He was just a guy. And that's what people want to see. People want to see something that feels true to life. And most of the time, what that means is handling your circumstances and not letting it define every aspect of you.
Right. And that type of
That's not necessarily relevant to this story. It is more relevant.
Well, no, it is because that seems to be exactly the type of pandering that Netflix is doing with this. I didn't finish the first season of this show because I just knew that it was going to be shit, and it was. I watched the first episode and was like, peace out. It doesn't cause me any pain to be missing out on this. But I also saw there was an announcement about the live action Moana, which we passed by earlier. They cast a girl to play Moana in the live action alongside The Rock. And of course, what was most important is that she is actually Hawaiian, actually Pacific Islander. Therefore, nobody is going to get offended that she is representing this community wrongly.
The look is pretty spot on for her.
Of course.
She looks spot on.
I'm not saying at all that she was a bad choice. Of course, she was a good choice. She looks adorable, and she looks like the character, and I'm sure she's talented and all that. And it makes total sense, of course, for her to be the same race as this character. Of course. But if it were like that across the board, that would change things.
Yep.
And the fact that this is being emphasized in the first press statement, it just says a lot about where their values lie. She said, I'm really excited to embrace this character. I'm honored to have an opportunity to celebrate Samoa and all Pacific Island peoples and to represent young girls who look like me.
The look like me part is very cliche, but I mean, in the movie Moana, I mean, her culture is actually a huge part of the story. So I guess
I never watched it, so I don't know.
The first part makes sense, but
okay, but tell me how like Snow White's culture in the original folktale was not important to her story. Like that's just erasing any white person's culture.
What's going to happen? I think what will end up happening is like for the last several decades, the shows that are being whitewashed, or in this case, are being race swapped and all of these things, they're from generations from the people doing it now, the millennials or the now I guess maybe even Gen Z people, the millennial people that are advocating for these race swaps haven't had their childhood properties destroyed yet. So when the stuff that they really liked, I remember there was this article written from like a major left-wing outlet that was pissed about the supposed Buffy the Vampire Slayer race swap. And it's like, now you will see what it's like when something you like gets messed with.
It depends. I think that the affluent white female liberals
are more self-hating now than they were before.
They really love that shit. Like millennial women grew up with something like The Little Mermaid that came out in the 80s. They grew up with that and they loved to see race swap.
It didn't
Ariel.
do the money they would have liked.
It didn't make the money, but I didn't hear a single peep from the liberal white women who love Disney saying that they were unhappy with this decision. The most we've heard of that is the talk about race swapping Rapunzel from Tangled.
Yeah.
And that was more like Gen Z women saying like, I finally wanted to see like just one white blonde princess, but I guess everyone has to be a different race now.
Yep.
Like that was the only pushback I've seen.
You want to know how you avoid it?
So far.
You want to know how you avoid it?
How?
You find properties that have absolutely zero social cachet and has no benefit to the point of doing this, as everyone knows, is that it is a form of cultural conquest. It is done specifically for the sake of changing the race most of the time, right? And the way that you avoid that is you seek out properties where they don't see any value in going after that IP. So the things that don't have the cultural relevance get, for the most part, left alone, or can be left alone, or are done a little bit more fairly. So go and seek out things that you just know that
Do you have an
people
example?
Of where that would happen? I don't know. I can't think of off the top of my head one that would be. But I mean, there's lots of shows that, like, if they like there's tons of shows that I love that someday will probably end up getting God willing, all those USA Network shows that I like will get remade, and they will race swap Michael Weston and Burn Notice. I'm sure that will happen, right? But you know, it's
the best way to avoid it, though, is make your own thing.
There you go.
That's your job.
It's all, the funny thing is by doing that, you also end up earning a lot more goodwill from people, because they're just excited that you're trying something new. But as we've seen with the way things are going right now, when you try to make your own thing, nobody goes.
Yeah.
Nobody went. And the funny thing is, we always use Fall Guys, an example of that's not even its own thing. It was still based off an 80s TV show, but
might as well not have been, because literally no one had heard of it.
But in general, people aren't showing up to the. Oh, okay. I'll give you an example. Like, look, if we're talking about the revenge action movie, that's still Liam Neeson and Aaron Eckhart and just old white guys. And I guess Keanu Reeves isn't an old white guy, but like
somewhat.
He's half white or
white and somewhat old.
But the point is like the old man action trope is still done in that way. Jason Statham. Right? So that's for the most part left alone. That's why Terminal List is Chris Pratt.
And Ryan Gosling is still Ryan Gosling.
And Reacher was left alone.
Tom Cruise.
So you find stuff that you like, and you hope to God that nobody at Amazon or Netflix or any of these people thinks, what can we do to this?
Do you, you know what? Never mind. I'll ask you that after the show.
Okay. I'm sure that was perfectly acceptable. I'm sure it's not controversial at all.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media, and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.